I'll remind you, there are more open dates available next week. In fact, Saturday at open dates. So if you want to check out training camp, it's been a lot of fun. It's been almost flawless at the new training center. But we're interested in seeing some of the Redskins, and I want you to move over a little bit. I do not want you skewered by this piece of equipment. And again, we're doing this a little bit differently here today as that piece of pipe comes through, as we are forced into the tunnel. And Chris, who are you looking at tonight? Who do you have your eye on?
I'm glad you saw that, because you just saved my life. Thank you, Larry. A couple of guys, obviously. We'll start with the secondary. I think everybody wants to see second-round pick David Amerson, sixth-round pick, and starting free safety Marty Rambo, and also fourth-round pick and maybe starter tonight, Philip Thomas. That's easy. I also want to see Brandon Jenkins. He's a guy who has shown a variety of spin moves, both bull rush pass moves. You know, can he work on the left side and the right side, just the left side? I want to see what he looks like in game time. And then on offense, real quickly, very simple. The number one guy I need to see is Tom Compton. This team needs to know whether Tom can back up Trent Williams, who's already dealing with, of course, a wrist injury, has wearing a club and a cast, if you will, during practices in Richmond. So that is a huge guy that I want to zero in on.
Coming up the tunnel right now, if you can step over closer to me, so Alex can get a shot. You see Philip Thomas coming up, along with okay, we will move. Does the camera have to move, sir?
You said you can go right in here.
Alright. So we're going to come in here, and Alex, you're on your own with this. I told you we were under some different type of circumstances here tonight with this edition of Gametime Live presented by Verizon. And the rain, now the folks here at LP Field have done such a great job in getting this playing surface ready for action tonight. And we have to step aside, and Alex Diamond on the camera. I think this is the first for him, as well as you and me, Chris Russell, as the show must go on.
Larry, that might be the thing that kind of starts Brandon Miller's fun with this.
He sees we're stuck in the corner here, and I appreciate this gentleman, one of the folks working here, on saving our life here. But hey, it's live web stream, folks, and this is what's happening here at the stadium. Chris, I appreciate you hanging in, and we'll listen to you on ESPN 980, my friend.
Appreciate you.
All right, again, don't forget, the training center is open. The Bon Score Washington Redskins Training Center is open. Watch out behind you again. Watch out behind you again. Here they come. So I'm going to step aside over here. And I really, to be honest with you, I don't know what's happening with that little Bobcat forklift that they've got. Here's D'Angelo Hall going up the sideline, going up the ramp here. I'm going to ask Brian Tinsman from Redskins.com to come in here. Tinsman, you're risking your life coming in here, but I know you're a brave man.
It's a war zone out here, Larry. Head on swivel. Head on swivel.
No doubt about it. Construction continuing, work on the field continuing. They've taken the tarp off here. I don't know what's going to happen next, but what do you have your eye on tonight?
Well, I think personally and professionally, this is a big night for Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's got to go out there and show his teammates for later in the season, you know, maybe in the future, if there's an opportunity where Robert Griffin III cannot answer the bell, then he's the guy who has to be able to run this offense. So we saw it last year in Cleveland, we saw it in Baltimore as well. He is able to command the level. He can certainly make all the throws, he can do all the things necessary to be starting quarterback in a pinch. But this is a big spot for him, every opportunity.
There's Ryan Kerrigan over there. He likes the rain. He's a good mutter, and he's enjoying the rain, going up the path down the line. And again, you know, these two teams played each other in the regular season a few years ago. It was a game I remember about Vince Young getting upset at the end of the game. He threw his uniform off. He had a big fight with Jeff Fisher. And of course, I don't think he ever played after that. Back to tonight, does it really matter who the opponent is tonight? Is it in fact the Redskins evaluating their personnel?
Absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. This is not about game planning, this is not about scheme. We're not going to scheme a lot tonight. So this is about getting in a game rhythm, this is about getting up to speed, getting in sync with everybody around you, and seeing if you can execute in and out of the base offense and defense. Checking in on the personnel. There's a lot of injured players coming off of season-ending injuries last year. We're going to see a lot of guys like Brian Arakpo, maybe Fred Davis, for the first time in about a year. And this is a big spot for them. You know, will the weather affect the coaches put out there? I think it probably will. You know, a lot of these guys with lower leg injuries, there's no sense in risking their return. Certainly a guy like Roy Halou, I think, who needs every opportunity to kind of take that backup role. Is he going to be all right tonight to go?
Chris Thompson and Jamison out of Rutgers. Thompson back from the knee injury. We saw him show a few flashes over the last couple of days of camp before we came to Nashville. And you've got Evan Royster. So I've got my eye on that backup running back position. Now, defensively, you do have David Anderson out there, the new corner, the second-round pick out of NC State. So you got some guys there like Richard Crawford. You've got Chase Minifield. And how many corners will you carry? The numbers game is really going to play itself out over the next couple of weeks. The first cut's coming after Game 3 of the 24th of August as the Redskins host the Buffalo Bills. So this is the start of a very, very important portion of the preseason for some of the young guys, maybe not the draft picks, but some of the other guys needed to make a decision.
Well, you mentioned Minifield. He's a guy that I really like, and I know the coaches do as well. He came in last year as an undrafted guy, and he really impressed the coaches before he tore his ACL on the last day of minicamp. This is really the first time for Redskins fans to see him in action. And he's a pretty rangy guy. He's a physical guy. Has gotten into it with a couple of the veterans. You know, he's fearless out there. He said that the ACL injuries in the past, any microfracture surgeries that he had are distant memory at this point. And he should be a really interesting guy to watch. He's a guy that could play an impact in some of the other guys that you mentioned, Richard Crawford. You know, I think certainly the cornerback and safety position, those guys are going to be counted together. I think they're going to end up taking the best of the bunch, regardless of what position they're in.
All right, Brian Tinsman, you can catch his outstanding work on Redskins.
Thank you.
All right, Redskins 8 o'clock kickoff tonight here in Tennessee. We apologize for the start of this program, but it's live. You can catch it here before every game. Press conference, training camp press conferences, all live here. Right, come on, a 16-year third AFC South. Do not wear purple to a Redskins game, okay? That is the wrong color to wear. You got to be wearing burgundy and gold, but nonetheless, you didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo. I just tried to, pull something together that would look nice, but I got the memo and it won't happen again.
Okay, that out of the way, Brian Gleason. It's your first year with the Redskins. You're excited about it?
I'm very excited. Growing up in the Northern Virginia area, I've been a Redskins fan my whole life, so to be on this side of things is just a really great opportunity. I'm honored, honestly, to be here. So.
On the tunnel right now, there is the rookie David Emerson, the second-round pick out of NC State. Love the kid, Mr. Emerson. He is ready for his preseason debut here in Tennessee. We got some of the other Redskins, Cleveland players, Jerome Murphy, defensive back, and a host of others. Now, Brian, you've been at training camp. Who are you looking at? This is like a maiden voyage, and everybody has their own special thing they're looking at. And right now, coming down the tunnel, we're going to wait till they come into camera view. But it's Brian Rackbo and Perry Riley. Rack coming back from that injury. In fact, Alex Diamond is getting a shot of the fellas as they come down. Perry Riley and Brian Rackbo. They're all our friends getting out there in the rain. And Brian, we have the ability to stay here in the tunnel, not getting wet. But back to the question, what are you looking forward to the most tonight on the football field?
I'm actually looking forward to it. I grew up an offensive lineman in high school. Played rugby as a lineman there as well. So to see them gel and to see how they come together, they had a great end of last season. Make sure they can continue that, and as they bring in new guys, and if they bring in rookies that try to make the squad, and see how they gel together as a very, very veteran crowd brings in young talent and see how they work together. So not many people usually cheer for the offensive lineman, but I personally like to see how that all comes together.
Brian Gleason, we appreciate him joining our team this year. You can catch him on Twitter, Facebook, social media, Redskins.com. He is a very versatile performer, and we'll see you later. We've got a couple Redskins wide receivers, Joshua Morgan and Desmond Briscoe, making their way on the rainy playing field. Yeah, Josh Morgan, we love the man from Southeast DC. And again, an original show for us each week prior to every Redskins game. Verizon, Gametime Live is Gametime Live presented by Verizon. And today the weather has sent us inside, so we're going to wrap it up with these thoughts. Let's look for in this ball game tonight. We've got a preseason game, number 1. City, Nashville, Tennessee, healthy as you showed up. Now, the quarterback position, you're going to see a lot of Kirk Cousins. That's something to look for tonight if you're checking this game out on television or listening to us on Redskins radio. So Kirk Cousins under the microscope a bit with the injury to Robert Griffin III. Also, you got some battle shaping up at the end of the roster for wide receiver positions, maybe the last running back, offensive line. How will the backups sort themselves out on the defensive side of the football? A guy like Nick Barnett's been with the team for a couple of weeks. What impact will he have today? We've talked about the secondary positions, corner and safety. So there are some jobs up for grabs. And with the first one coming after the third preseason game, August the 24th in Buffalo, you got to figure that if you're going to make an impression, your time is running out. You've been through OTAs, you've been through the mini camps, and tonight, preseason game number 1 right here in Nashville. For our entire crew tonight, we appreciate you hanging in for this very unusual edition of Gametime Live presented by Verizon. Enjoy the game. We'll see you later on Redskins.com.